And yes, we are back. Shout out to us for making it back. You, me, all of us. And today we are watching why Diablo 4 will break the curve. I don't know what curve he's talking about, but let's find out.
Okay, now live service games definitely remain amongst the more popular game
Oh, that
genre
curve.
out there. I
Wait,
mean,
what?
you have games like Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Genshin Impact, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy. I mean, there are
Okay.
loads of games out there that are live service, and there have been
Okay.
a lot of people wondering if Diablo 4 is going to make the cut when it comes to being successful or even great in terms of a live service ARPG game. The main way to figure something like that out is by viewing the greatest core features of an ARPG throughout successful franchises and seeing if Diablo 4 is replicating them or potentially even doing them better. And if you're interested in earning a free Diablo 4 game copy, the Comeback Kids are doing
That's the one thing I would say Diablo 4 has at its advantage. You can look at so many different angles and aspects to see what works and what doesn't. It is like very plain and day what is going to work and what is not once you've actually played around with it for a little bit. So simple. And I think if they just use it to their advantage, they will be on top.
a giveaway, so don't forget to
But
stick
they
around
have
till the end
to
of the video to see
do
how you
it.
can earn a free copy for yourself. Okay, now live service games are continuously updated with new content, features, and events, often with the intention of keeping players engaged for a long period of time. And there are a
Virals.
variety of reasons why these games tend to fail. It could be from developers maybe overpromising on features, the game heavily relying on
Star Citizens.
microtransactions and in-game purchases, the game lacking content as well as seasonal updates to keep players entertained, and the game just having poor technical issues such as server instability as well as bugs throughout the game. Now, with 3 separate games under its belt, Diablo has definitely made itself a household name when it comes to the ARPG genre. The franchise has consistently delivered engaging and fun, polished gameplay with a beautiful story that's dark and gritty that all the fans have truly come to love.
Again, I gotta say, I every time I talk to Diablo 4 about someone, they're like, "Oh, it was too casual. This was that, or this is the problem, bro." The story was good. I don't care as far as first time goes. The story was really good. That already gives it a leg up on a lot of games. In my honest opinion, the opening cinematic was just legit so good.
The Diablo series is an epic saga that covers the long-lasting struggle between the forces of the high heavens and the burning hells known as the Eternal Conflict. Although most of the games mainly take place in the mortal realm of Sanctuary, they often focus on the concerns of the other realms and their conflict-eager inhabitants. Now, Diablo has always offered you a truly one-of-a-kind and very carefully detailed story experience that is definitely up there for
Nice.
being one of the best throughout
12
gaming
what?
sagas.
1270.
Diablo
Jeez.
4 is set to deliver a darker, more mature storyline, similar to Diablo 2, that will appeal to both longtime fans as well as newcomers. Now, coming from the gameplay and combat mechanics of Diablo 4, it is very engaging and it all gets refreshed with every different class that you decide to play as. Blizzard has always loved to take these brilliant and strong gameplay structures from other games and implement them in their own way with that Blizzard polish of just being cleaner, more simple, and way easier to pick up than the game's competitors. Blizzard has always made games that just
StarCraft.
feel good to play. Diablo 4 is absolutely fantastic at doing what it's best at really well.
I agree. I'm telling you, when I was playing, it didn't feel like an ARPG. It felt as smooth as a roguelike. That's how like snappy the beginning interactions were. Like it just felt like it just felt so good. And I imagine that's why so many people cannot wait to get their hands on it because it was just really good and refreshing to play.
That's going to be,
best
it's
way I can word
very
it.
fun and engaging combat right from the jump.
Yep.
It brings incredible music, great sound design, and the animations and effects just look great. And it makes it feel really good to, when you press those buttons, everything feels very impactful and just, it feels like a joy to play overall.
I
The
agree.
best part about it is
I
that
agree.
every class has loads of different builds that you could play, and all of them can vary vastly different from the previous build. You can summon an army of minions with a necromancer and cast dark magic, or just straight up run in there with the barbarian and whirlwind everything down. It feels like features that actually surround playing the game, whether it be killing regular mobs, doing open world events, or fighting the hardest bosses you possibly can. It all feels very impactful and eventful because everything feels so good to actually do. As a gamer, I'm sure you've played many video games out there, and you could definitely notice when a game feels a bit sluggish or stiff, or things just simply don't feel right.
Bleeth, fake, or spoken will always, forever be this game that just leaves a terrible taste in my mouth. Not because the game was terrible, but because people try to justify how good it, like, how it's not good, how bad it was by saying it was good. How bad does your game have to be for people to be like, dude, it's supposed to be bad? That's what makes it good. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That was ridiculous. And now no one even cares to talk about the game. You know why? Because it was bad. All that copium that was being inhaled and sold, it expired. Like, just ridiculous. That game made me just not even want to. Bro.
And I think the average gamer definitely takes for granted when something actually feels good and it's done really well. I'm going to say when it comes to determining the overall state of gameplay and combat systems, these definitely overshadow all of the other features in the game. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think all the other features are great. It just means that the gameplay and combat fluidity definitely overshines the rest of the game, and it has to be, in my opinion, the best aspect of Diablo 4, definitely getting that stamp of approval when it comes to gameplay mechanics as well as combat systems in general.
And that's why I don't understand why so many people at least on certain forums, are so eager to complain. The game, the beta was in your hands. You had so many countless hours to participate and play and try. And I'm granted some people didn't because server issues and work. Okay, whatever. But for the people who did get a chance to play, you can attest for yourself just how good the game felt. It was a beta. There was nothing. The dungeons were probably the only thing, in my opinion, worth complaining about. And those are already changed. And yet, you just cannot get out of this spiraling pitfall of why the game sucks before the game is even out. It is kind of crazy.
Now, it's important to note that Diablo didn't innovate or bring anything brand new to the table when it comes to your character's actual progression. They took things from previous Diablo games, as well as heavy inspiration from the more popular games like Wolcen and Path of Exile. Although they do have loads of systems in place to help with replayability to keep you playing rather than focus on doing boring, tedious grinds out there. Just to name a few, you have the Renown system, which is an account-based reward system that unlocks rewards for all the characters on your account, including skill points, potion charges, and Paragon points. You also have the Altars of Lilith, which these altars are spread across the open world of Sanctuary, and finding the altar increases your stats permanently for all the characters on your account. And then you have my personal favorite, which is the Codex of Power system, which is like a manual in a way that collects all the legendary aspects for you that you've collected, completing dungeons out in the open world. And
again, I didn't even know this was in the game. I know there were Codex of Aspects, but I was under the assumption you clear the dungeon and you get it. I didn't know you had to put it into a weapon or something.
It allows you to very easily play any build you want on any character if you actually have the power collected. The skill tree, which offers countless builds for your character to go through and test out along your journey. And then you have the Paragon system. And the Paragon system is definitely by far the most intricate system the Diablo franchise has ever introduced, and it's really for good reason. It opens up at level 50 for your character, and you start at the center of your class board. And then you work outward from there, unlocking tiles with points that you acquire while you're continuing your leveling journey. There are also gate nodes at the edge of the boards, which you can then attach brand new boards to and move on to other boards as well. And then throughout all the boards are just countless bonuses to your character to help change and cater to your specific builds with either simple nodes that just buff your character stats, or more intricate nodes that change spells and alter effects entirely. I mean, you know, having a good progression model is very vital and crucial to maintaining a player's interest in a game. When they actually work and they're implemented well, you have players always constantly coming back for more, wanting to progress either their character or alternate characters over and over again. But without it, players may not want to come back at all if they feel like they're not progressing towards something or even having their time feel valued. So for Diablo 4, I think it definitely gets these standards.
And that's the main problem with Path of Exile, in my opinion. Hold on. One second. Because I think the dog's about to stop barking.
Stamp of approval when it comes to character progression. Now, one of the main reasons endgame content is so important is that it helps keep players invested in a game long after they completed the main story. Now, if there isn't enough fun and engaging endgame content, it doesn't matter how great your combat is or how good the story is, no one's going to come back to that game because there simply isn't going to be anything to do. Some very common Diablo 4 endgame features are going to be your Whispers of the Dead system.
Dailies, more or less.
You know, these are essentially just going to be like bounties in Diablo 3 and are going to be your daily quests spread all across the world. The rewards for these quests are Grim Favors, and then you take these Grim Favors to the Tree of Whispers and exchange them for loot caches as well as experience. It's also going to be a great way to get Nightmare Sigils, which you can then use these to activate Nightmare Dungeons. Now, in Diablo 4 at launch, there are going to be over 120 dungeons to complete, all with their own dungeon layouts, mob types, bosses, and encounters.
And those dungeons just got buffed. Keep that in mind. Or they got changed, revamped? Yeah, revamped.
All unique to them. Now, Nightmare Sigils turn a regular dungeon into a Nightmare Dungeon, and this is easily going to be the biggest feature of Diablo 4's endgame. These Nightmare Sigils amplify a dungeon to increase the difficulty all across the board and bring you a brand new challenge to overcome, allowing you to obtain greater rewards. This system is very similar to Mythic Plus in World of Warcraft or Rifts in Diablo 3, and they offer incredible replayability and progression for your character. There are also things like Helltide Zones, which transform an entire region into a Helltide event where you can go defeat powerful monsters and complete objectives to acquire shards. You then take these shards to unlock caches that are found all throughout Helltide.
And that's all they need to just build upon. They have the foundation is there. They just need to make sure these dailies and the Helltides don't get too stale too fast. That's all. You know, build on what you have. Have someone scouring for tips and things that people want, and just keep them going. Just
areas
keep it,
that give you very
going.
powerful loot
Very
rewards
positive
as well.
direction.
And then you have more things like world bosses that take up to 12 players to take down. And then you have, for the PvP lovers out there, the Fields of
Sorry,
Hatred.
boys.
And now the Fields of Hatred is a pure PvP zone where you could enter as a group of 4 if you'd want. The zone is full of monsters and players and objectives that if you complete, you get shards. The goal is...
I didn't really think about it, but yeah, entering as a group could be fun. I'm sure some people are gonna love, like, hey man, let's group up and let's grief and it's gonna be fun. Like, I can see that. I didn't really think about it like that, but I'm not interested in PvP personally, but
to take these shards and go purify them, and then you can actually turn them in for a reward.
Yeah,
the big catch is that if you get killed by other players while you're purifying your shards, they can steal all of them for themselves, giving you a nice amount of toxic PvP for a game like Diablo 4. Now, if all this doesn't scream replayability and long-term content, the developers also announced post-launch content. The battle passes are going to contain roughly 80 hours of content to complete in its entirety.
Oh, it'll take even longer to hit max level, so it'll take more than 80 hours to hit max level per season? Dang.
Combining this with the amount of time it takes to reach max level on a character, you have a very content-filled Diablo 4 game. They also announced additional story content for the Battle Pass tied to the mechanics and brand new features coming with every season, and that's not even counting the full-fledged expansions, which are certainly going to come to the game. Now, Diablo 4's main priority is that it is a seasonal game, refreshing content every
Every
3 months, bringing you new stories and new
3 to 4
mechanics
months.
tied to that specific season. That also brings new cosmetics, new gameplay, maybe new legendaries and items, as well as new dungeons or world bosses. And if you play more than one character, that is definitely going to give you an absolute insane amount of content coming every 3 months, which even might be a
Yes.
bit much. So it
Yes.
definitely gets these.
So think about that. One character, it takes. I'm under the pretense battle tip pass will be over the whole account, so let's not worry about that. But if it takes over 80 hours to hit max level on 2 characters, let's just say it takes 8 hours. That's 160 hours between 2 characters, bro. Are you still not satisfied with your purchase?
Stamp of approval
Again, if
on
it's fun,
replayability.
we'll see.
Now,
We'll
unlike
see.
previous games
We'll
in the
see.
series, Diablo 4 will allow its players to explore a vast, interconnected world filled with diverse environments, hidden dungeons, and challenging world events. This open world design not only adds depth to the game, but also encourages exploration and cooperation amongst players. Unlike previous games in the series, Diablo 4 will allow players to explore a vast, interconnected world filled with diverse environments, hidden dungeons, and challenging world events. This open world design not only adds depth to the game, but also encourages exploration and cooperation amongst players. The freedom Diablo 4 brings is truly one of a kind. Not only can the player team up with others to face the harsh world presented in the game with events, world bosses, and even the ability to face off against players in PvP, there is just a game mode for everyone. I mean, no matter their mood or preference, the game is approachable for people looking for competitive, cooperative, and single-player elements. You can engage Diablo 4 in a different way every gaming session if you want to. If you want to go to PvP and be toxic, you can do that. If you want to go out there solo and do dungeons all on your own and, farm your legendary aspects, you could do that as well. Or if you want to group up and go do open world activities like world bosses or Helltide events, you can do that also. You can completely pick and choose and do whatever it is that you want to do whenever.
I didn't think about it. Yeah, doing Helltide with other people could be fun too. Because it kind of feels like, oh man, we're here together. It's mob spawning from every direction. It's just me and you.
Whenever you want to. This shows that Diablo 4 is a perfect mix of Diablo 2 and 3, giving you the freedom the game needed desperately to really.
Same thing with World Boss too. Like it is satisfying to clear World Balls with strangers. And everyone's like, good job, GG. And then someone can link their gear, and you're like, dang, you got that? That is a good feeling, not gonna lie.
Level up in today's modern gaming. When players look for a live service title, they want something they can feel they can invest their time in without it feeling like a waste in the future. They want a game that always motivates them to return, with having an engaging story, fun variations in gameplay to keep things from getting stale, a refined product. All of these equally affect a player's desire to come back to a game
and it plays really good on a controller. I just cannot ignore that. It plays smoother than games meant to play specifically on a console. It plays smoother than those type of games.
For more. Overall, Diablo 4 is setting itself apart from other failed live service games by simply delivering exactly what players expect from a live service game, and they're going to do them well. Both Anthem and Marvel's Avengers, for example, are two major live service games that failed to deliver a story that is told through periodic updates, leaving their stories unresolved and players very disappointed. Both of these games are exclusively offered PvE with no PvP elements as well, and this left gameplay stale and boring for players looking for a challenge, killing the replayability. Now, Diablo 4 is definitely on track to surpass any of the average ARPG or live service game coming out, I think, in the next 6 months. They have improved gameplay mechanics.
Path of Exile 2 is supposed to do something this year, so we'll see.
Open world exploration, darker and more mature storylines, and commitment to regular updates and expansions. And honestly, we really can't wait to see what the final product has in store for us, and we're sure it's going to be an absolutely unforgettable gaming experience. Now, if you're excited for Diablo 4, I want to hear your guys' comments down below. What is your favorite aspect of Diablo 4 that you either had the chance to play back in the open betas, or you haven't played yet and you're excited about?
Favorite aspect was definitely just playing the game, immersing myself in, the first act. The voice acting was on point. It was really fun. Doing the stuff in the city was not tedious and annoying. I can't wait to get a mount. Just the overall, just playing the game felt right. It just felt so good.
Don't forget, if you're also interested in earning a free Diablo 4 game copy, check the link out below to learn more
Hey,
information on
Calgary,
how to
that's
win.
you.
But that's going to be all today, ladies and gentlemen, for this
Just kidding.
video on Diablo 4 and why we think it's going to break the curve of, you know, the average ARPG space or live service game. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. It's an absolute pleasure to be making content for you all. And until the very end, my name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.
And my name is Kexis. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Comeback Kid, the king. That boy said peace. That was funny. Alright, I'll subscribe, man. You know what I'm saying? Help the boy out, like the video. I know what it's like. I know what it's like. But yeah, that's the video. I think, you know, highlighting all those things does paint a very nice picture, but it's really up to Blizzard to keep the mural, I think that's the right word, the mural fresh and cool and neat for us to enjoy over time. Anyways, nice video. I appreciate it. And yeah, that's it. You know the motto. Thanks for watching, because I appreciate you guys watching. Tell someone you love them if you haven't told them in a long time. Tell someone you appreciate them if you haven't told them in a long time, like a friend or something, your cat, dog, brother. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.